Welcome, Scoop Runner. Happy Labor Day. We are grinding along. It is Youngstown State Week. Home opener, noon, Big Ten Network. Players of the game were announced. No surprises. Case over on offense. JT2 Maloau on defense. And then Denzel Burke overall player of the game. We're going to get into that. We're going to wrap up Indiana, watch a little bit of the first drive, some things we need to fix. Appreciate all of your feedback on last night's video. It was a monster, so thank you guys so much. If you haven't seen that, check out our All-22 breakdown. We are getting the All-22 film tomorrow, actually, so we'll have another breakdown likely this week. But again, we appreciate you guys, all your support on that video. Again, very, very informative. We try to keep it very insightful, try to teach you guys a little bit about football, why things were going wrong. We're going to go through the first drive from the game on Saturday. Again, I cannot wait to burn this tape and never watch it again. I've watched it like 3 times. A lot of yards left on the field, a lot of loser plays. Frankly, our coaching staff has to do a lot better. I mean, our coaching staff was probably a D- in this one, and Indiana was probably a B+. So, there's a lot on offense. I mean, defensively, we played fantastic. 3 points, 135 yards. Can't do any better than that, even against a poor opponent. But, on offense, we just, we didn't put our guys in situations to be proficient. So with that being said, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're very grateful and thankful for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying your Labor Day. Please click like, click subscribe. Also click that little dinner bell and you'll get a little alert every time we go online. I want your MVPs. Give me that down in the comments. Again, they went with Cade Stover. He seems like an obvious guy on the offense. The high guy in receiving yards and receptions. Really played well, blocked well. Defensively, obviously, JT2 and Malal was a guy, a little quiet, didn't get a sack, but they were kind of in like a triple option-ish type offense where I felt like their entire mantra the whole game was just don't get blown out. So they were running the ball like crazy and trying to shorten the game, and they can go tell recruits that, hey, we only lost 23-3 to Ohio State, and we held Marvin and Emeka to 34 yards. So different kind of feeling. I don't really feel like they're playing to win, just trying to keep it close. And then obviously Denzel Burke was the overall player of the game. I thought he played fantastic. Our corners, again, a lot of momentum. Shout out Tim Walton, Davison Benosin, Jordan Hancock, Denzel Burke. Those guys played fantastic outside of Davison's DPI. But we are going to get into that as we get ready for the Youngstown State Penguins. With that being said, I'm going to bring in my good friend Nevadabuck. Nevada, how are you today?
Doing good. You've had a chance to watch the game a couple, 2, 3 times, looking at from some different perspectives. So maybe you have some different, takes than my initial takes. I think, I think JT and Jack Sawyer played better than I thought that they did. I think that they were pretty stout against the run, and there really wasn't that many passing situations where they really had a chance to kind of do their thing. So I think that was a little bit of a surprise to me. I think the offense. Look, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna talk about a lot of things to fix. But I really left just convinced that our issues are primarily schematic, and we're being out schemed. We're running plays that, frankly, I just don't know how they can be successful, or even if they are successful, success is, they might gain 3 yards or 4 yards or something like that, but they're not. And if we don't execute them perfectly, they lose 2, and that's just not good play design. And I think we can go into all the reasons why, and I think we can. But us talking about it is one thing, but the one thing I love about doing these videos with you is that we show it to them. You show the video. It doesn't lie. The tape never lies. When I coached football, I had a kid in front of me, or a kid that was playing defensive tackle, and I'm like, dude, you're literally dropping back on the first step. He goes, no, coach, I'm not. And I show him the tape, and he's like, man, I didn't even realize I was doing that. So it's like,
No.
the tape doesn't lie. You go to the tape. The tape is the ultimate truth in terms of everything. We can look at it and people can make up their minds for themselves about stuff. But, our job on this podcast is to tell you the truth, tell you stuff that you may not want to hear, you may want to hear, whatever it is. But we're not going to lie. We're not going to feed you the pablum that you get from the beat, because those guys are beholden to Ohio State. They're scared to death they're going to get their credentials pulled, or that Ohio State's going to be mad at them. We don't care. We're going to tell you the
No.
truth, and we're not going to be mean. If somebody does something good, we're going to tell you. If somebody does something bad, we're going to tell you. We're going to give it to you straight. So without further ado, let's let's get into the Indiana game first drive, because I think that this was kind of a microcosm of a lot of things that went well and went poorly the entire day.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like I said, I don't like to get into the Pablo, but this is literally the first play of the entire game for the offense. We get a nice stop. Again, Indiana was playing to not get blown out. They weren't playing to win, which is different. So, we start this thing off. We got Marvin, little short motion over here. They're playing this 3 cloud coverage. So the corner doesn't travel with him. He literally just, condenses back here. But like when you watch this play, this guy's a real threat to be an edge player. And, it's just a basic zone play. We used to call this cab, where you've got Cade on the backside, kind of closing up the backside edge. But, nobody really buys Marvin's motion. You hand it to Trey right here. And the hard part is, like, watch Emeka. And I love Emeka Egbuka. I'm the biggest Emeka Egbuka fan in the world. And again, I'm sure that he's coached to do this because this kid's a very bright kid. He's probably going to be a top 15 pick in the NFL draft. But, like, he's going up here. And, like, if he just gets in the way here and takes this guy, we might have a chance. But he bypasses him, works up here to the corner. And again, I'm sure that's what he's coached to do. I'm sure that's his assignment. But, I just don't know schematically how this play has any chance of success when you have a linebacker or a safety. I mean, I think he's just like a Will linebacker, Sam linebacker. It's a Sam. It's a wide side of the field just sitting here. And we literally just leave him unblocked. So, I mean, Trey Henderson gets the ball right here. He just got the ball. And immediately, this guy is your contained player. This guy's filling here. This guy's filling here. We don't transition well in the zone game. So, but avoiding this guy who's right in front of Emeka, this is one step into Trey's read. And there's 2 guys there, and we were giving up penetration. We're pushed 4 yards. This is the line of scrimmage, folks. So, we're pushed 4 yards in the backfield by one defensive end. And Trey gets hit for a loss of 3. So again, I know, and this is it's not haterade, it's not whatever, but it's like, you got to give these kids a chance to be successful. And again, Trey Henderson, I think, is as talented of a guy as there is in the country this year at running back. And the fact that he gets the ball and he gets it right here, and there's already a contained player, and there's already, the forcing contained guys are there immediately. So again, I mean, I know everyone thinks Trey sucks and he can't read anything, but what's he supposed to read when we put him in a play where there's 2 guys that are unblocked at the point of attack? So, again, I wish Emeka could point out to go to where we need to go. So again, these guys, I hate when they're jazzed up, start of the game. You want to take that crowd out of the game. We'll fast forward to play 2. I'm going to get to, there were some plays that were really good on this opening drive. So I'm going to get to those 2. This is not just a low lights reel or whatever. So here, I think we're opening up, again, easy throw, 6-man protection, nice and easy. Trey's ready to go on this edge guy. They're bringing, and we just loop it out to Marvin. Again, I think Kyle McCord has decent tools. I think he's an okay player, but he has to rope this to Marvin. Like, Marvin should have to pick this up off the ground. Like, I mean, look where this ball is when he catches it. And again, I know it's Kyle's first start or second start, but he's a 3rd-year guy. He's a 3rd-year sophomore. He's not an 18-year-old. I mean, he's 21 years old, starting out here, and his first throw is off Marvin's toenails. So, getting to get rolling a little bit. Again, Marvin should have 3 of those a drive, basically, to the point where he's getting 12 to 15 targets a game, and he's actually relevant because he was totally irrelevant in this game. Nevada, through the first 2 plays, any thoughts? I mean, obviously, featuring Marv is something that I couldn't believe how little we did it. We kind of let India in off the hook. But your thoughts so far through 2?
Well, yeah, and just that play number 2, when they're playing off Marvin like that, that's just free money. And like you said, the pass has got to be out there. It's got to be chest high. It's got to hit him. I mean, then, he makes one guy miss and he's off to the races. But at least if you hit him in the chest, he's going to get 10 yards. He'll get 11 yards. He'll get 12 yards. Instead, you scoop it up, and now you're setting yourself up with a 3rd down and short. And, little things like that. But we're just making offense too hard because those are the free plays right there. When you've got Marvin Harrison with man-to-man coverage, and a guy playing literally, I think at the snap, was he 10 yards off of him? 12
Yeah,
yards?
yeah,
I mean, that,
terrified, absolutely terrified.
yeah.
Playing corner.
And we got 8, 9, 10 yards on that one play, and then I don't know what Marvin caught the rest of the game, but it wasn't much. But like that's the kind of stuff where we've got to take the free stuff from the other teams and make offense easier. We are playing offense in a phone booth, and we make it too hard. We bring too many bodies into the box. We don't spread the teams out enough, and we're making it really, really difficult on our guys. And when you've got an inexperienced offensive line that's going out there and like you said, not doing the little things that they should that a veteran line will do, man, it makes offense look hard. And I think as a result, that's what it was. Offense was hard all day long. And actually, I thought, like you said, the first drive was one of our highlights. And
Yeah.
that was, it kind of went downhill from there.
And this is a play, again, this isn't just all low. This is one of my favorite plays of the drive, short yardage play. Again, it's 3rd and 3. You can see the down and distance right here. The important thing to me is we spread the field. So you got you got Marvin, you got your receivers out here. I think that's Cade, Mecca, whoever. I don't know if that's Julian. I think that's Julian with the 2 leg wristbands. So when you spread it out, you now have a 6-man box. So this is a cakewalk, especially if you ever read a guy. If you're running read option, you're +1. You're going to dominate these guys. You have one high safety. He's basically back there to help on Marvin. Again, this is a little thing and something that drives me crazy sometimes. But how can you tell immediately that we're running the ball in 3rd and 3? Well, look at Marvin's old grandma lady stance, and Marvin's one of the most athletic players in any level of football, one of the best players in the NFL. And does it really look like he's about to load up his stance and come off the ball right there? No. And again, sometimes these guys, they don't realize how much they tip. Look at the stances up here. I mean, these guys are a little bit better, but Marvin looks like he's about to go, to the shuffleboard court with an old man walker right there. So he's not coming off the rock. They're not throwing it to him. He's not trying to get open. So again, that's just a little thing, a little tell when you're a GA. You can examine stances and figure out what guys are doing. But here we run a really nice little counter play where we pull Donnie and we pull Josh Simmons down block. They blitz out of the play. They do a cross dog in the middle. So we hand this off. But I mean, block here, disrupting here. And look at all this, this grass that we get to run to, I mean, that is football. That is great football. That is the numbers game of football. That's something that, frankly, later in the game, we did literally the exact opposite. We put everybody in the phone booth and, frankly, got mauled. Where when you have all these athletes out there and you can put a guy like Trey, who's as fast as any running back in the country, out in space. Because, again, he's got this whole wide side of the field to pick a hole and go, to get, right here, you're Trey Henderson. You're not getting hit in the back. But right here, this is all bottled up, deleted. He's interfered with, and you just got to pick a hole to get 3 yards. And that is what our offense needs to be. Because again, when you have Marvin and Emeka, it's like having the nuclear bomb. And last Saturday, for whatever reason, we said, you know what? Let's not use the nuclear bomb to win. Let's use the water pistols and the butter knives, but you've got the greatest weaponry in the universe and we just didn't use it ever. We're putting guys let's take Marvin off and put the 3rd tight end in the game, which God bless him. You're trying to get that kid a letter, I guess, but it wasn't really the most prolific way of doing it. But here, Trey, lots of green grass, easy. I'm just easy. Easy. He didn't even break a sweat. He didn't even get hit. That's 10 yards unscathed, and they do the end zone view here, but again, this is a 6. This is a beautiful box to run the ball in. It's real easy, real clean. You're gonna down block. You're gonna down block here, back. You got your kick. You got your wall. I mean, this is what we should be doing on offense. And again, they do a cross dog here, so they kind of blitz themselves out of it. But even if they don't, they're still done. So you got Donnie here. You got Josh pulling deep. I mean, that's just beautiful football, beautiful. And Trey, look at all the room he has. Again, this is what we need to get to. This is what if I'm calling the plays, I'm like, look, we're never running 3 tight ends again. You know, if you're the second and third tight end, you can just transfer because you're not going to ever see the field again. We're going to play Cade, might play one other guy, might play Joe, might play G, whoever, but we're not putting you guys all out there at once ever again because it was terrible. It was absolutely putrid. This is what our offense needs to be because, again, when you have Emeka and Marvin split out wide, one of them has to get double teamed, and then you have to help out with the other guy. You have to put your number one corner on the other guy and then double team the other guy. So you have to have some sort of schematic deal when you're dealing with those guys because they're the best players in the country. You know, so when you go 3 tight ends, you're taking at least one off. You might be taking both off if you go 4 tight ends with the jumbo tight end with Luke Montgomery in the 98 jersey. So, Nevada, your thoughts on this play? Obviously, it's like poetry in motion. I love seeing Trey, green grass, a lot of room to go, a lot of lanes to pick. Doesn't even break a sweat. Doesn't even get hit, and he gets 10 yards. But your thoughts on that?
Well, I just think, imagine that play and then have a quarterback that's presented a viable running threat. They actually honored McCord on that on the backside when he kind of cleared up. The guy was actually looking at him, even though he was out of the play on the left side. But I mean, when you do that or you run that RPO action off of there, one of those slot guys blitzes and you just pull it out and you throw it. I mean, I just don't know how you stop that. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me seems almost unstoppable. Where you're reading a defensive end, you're reading a slot corner, or you're handing the ball off to your all-American running back who's gonna, like you said, against a 6-man block. Good luck with the defense stopping that. And you're 100% right. Instead we're doing the polar opposite. And again, I don't have any problems with 2 tight end looks where you're flexing guys out and flexing guys in but like we're doing 3 tight end stuff where we would literally bring 9 guys into our box and then when they had 10 guys inside their box and it was just a big mosh pit on the inside. So no, I think the offense was a mess, but the good news is, look, we've got the talent to fix this. I really do believe that these issues, I mean, there's no, but the first step that they got to do, and I think that they will do this, is they've got to get somebody upstairs in the box. This is the first time that I can ever remember in watching Ohio State football in my entire life that we haven't had somebody with a senior offensive coordinator title up in the box. I mean, I don't know how that happens. I don't know what happens. I think it's a mistake on their part that they're doing it this way, and I think they're making offense very, very difficult. And I think it's got to start. And I think it's got to be Hartline. I think Hartline's got to go up in the box and let Bailey coach the wide receivers on the sideline and take them. That'd be the first step that I would do, and I would do that this week.
Yeah, I agree. So I skipped a play. We had a little short run to get the 2nd and 7. This is something that I was stressing leading up to the game. When you've got Jimmy Simmons and you've got Josh Fry, you got 2 new tackles, 1 career start in the Big Ten between the 2 of them. I don't count any Jimmys because San Diego State doesn't count. So you get your tight end in the wing to help chip here if needed. You have Cade here just to kind of interfere as he goes down on a little quick route here. I love that. I thought that was really good, really well done by Ryan Day, really well done by Justin Fry, just to protect these tackles, young tackles, guys that hadn't played. The funny thing is that they graded out higher than the guards did. The guards played worse than the tackles, and I thought the guards are going to be our stalwart All-Americans, and they really didn't play that well. So there's a lot of room to improve for Matt and Donnie on the inside. I thought Carson Hinsman, he hung in there well, but this is I like plays like this for a young quarterback. Nice, easy, literally 1 read, a little 8-yard, kind of like a little button hookish type thing you do here. Turns around, catches it. Cade falls forward. Cade was fantastic throughout the game. Obviously, really prolific through the air. But those are the kind of throws I really love for young quarterbacks because it's not a mind meld. It's not a big, read, triangle read. It's literally catch it, throw it. I mean, Trey was open there too. Get to the next play. Nevada, what do you think overall of the protection? Again, we gave up 0 sacks. I know that people think we're being harsh and mean and big meanies or whatever, but 0 sacks is still 0 sacks. Granted, we really helped these guys, but hey, 0 sacks is 0 sacks. What do you think of some of the schematic stuff they did to protect Kyle as a young quarterback?
I thought it was good, and I thought that he had adequate time to throw. I mean, this was not like a 7 sack game like JT Barrett and Virginia Tech 2014
Yep.
or anything like that. This was like he generally had a clean pocket. He was flushed sometimes. He got hit a couple of times, but as you said, 0 sacks. That's something you can build off on the offensive line
Yep.
because now at least our pass protection. And again, I think it did start with some of the stuff that they did to help the offensive tackles out, and that's a good thing. But it wasn't like a jailbreak. And to me, that's when I went back and looked at the second and third time when I was watching the game and graded the offensive lineman. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for how many times was it just like snap and look out, block and scream and have the guy running for his life. And that really didn't happen all that often. So I think that's a good thing for Ohio State because we know we're going to have to be passing the ball going forward. Whoever the quarterback is, we're going to be passing the ball. And I thought that they did an adequate job on pass protection. Certainly, maybe B to B minus in terms of the pass protection. And I think it was in the running game where we had issues, but again, it was mainly numbers and some bad technique and some bad handoffs and some bad coordination. But I think that can be fixed as these guys play more and become more cohesive as a unit. So I'm actually optimistic that they'll figure those things out and look better, and not just this week against Youngstown State because it's Youngstown State, or the next week against Western Kentucky. But I think these are fixes that they can make that long term will show up even in the tougher games.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm going to go to a play. This is 2nd and 10. Apologize. It's cut off a little bit here, but 2nd and 10. This is a play, it's not a busted play, but it's a play where Jimmy Simmons gets beat. It's a little light here, a little weak here. Probably wants this play back because the sound wasn't great. But this is a play I love from Kyle McCord. So Jimmy Simmons, he's very soft here on the edge, gets pushed backwards, almost pancaked, catches resets. I think Kyle's looking at Marvin, obviously. Or excuse me, that's Mech too. I don't know if he's looking at the deeper guy out over here, but he feels the pressure, and I can't tell you how much I love this play. As much as I was on CJ's shout about never running the ball, like here he feels the pressure, doesn't panic, doesn't take the sack, tucks the ball, goes, gets it, and all of a sudden this is going to end up being a 3rd and 2 now because right there's the stick, and that's where he landed. So again, that's a little thing. It's something where Josh Simmons obviously had a bad play. He didn't do well, minus on his grade sheet. But Kyle McCord turned it into an 8-yard gain. Because again, I'm telling you, when you're on offense and you're a coordinator or you're a head coach and you're calling the plays, you're O lineman, 3rd and 2 is a galaxy better than 3rd and 10. I'm just telling you. 3rd and 2, you can literally run any play in the playbook, any run, any pass. Nevada, your thoughts on the mobility and the scrambling from a young quarterback at Ohio State, especially when we get into these games that are loud. Guys might be laid off the snap. Every inch. It's like Jim Tressel always had a great saying when we would play Michigan, where he said every yard was golden. Every 1 yard is worth 2 yards in the Michigan game, just because it was like you're scrapping for every little inch, and that's probably why he was 10-1 against Michigan, is because he knew the formula to beat him, and it's like you gotta scrape and claw for every little bit you can get on the field. Your thoughts on a play like that? Because I think a play like that, it doesn't stand out in Indiana where it's a sleepy, crappy stadium with a quiet fan base, but you go do that in Camp Randall or you go do that at Notre Dame and you make it that 3rd and 2. Those are the differences between winning, losing, no points versus a field goal versus a touchdown. And again, those are the little hidden yards that add up that sometimes people don't see. Because again, he just as easily could have taken a sack from Andre Carter, who got Josh Simmons on that play, and he didn't, and he went and got 8 yards. But your thoughts on a play like that?
It was my favorite play of the game. It was my favorite play of the game by McCord. No, it was. Because what I liked about it was there was no hesitation. There was no unwillingness. There was no uncertainty. It was, I see this, I identify it, and he ran and ran hard. And like I said, I'm on Kyle about a lot of things, but he is a willing runner. He's not the most gifted intuitive. He made a read around the goal line on a quarterback draw later. That's god awful. But in terms of his willingness to go out there in terms of doing it, that spoke volumes to me. And I thought I thought singularly it was his best play of the game, because you're absolutely right. The difference, if you take it, heaven forbid you take a sack, but you take a sack. But even if you throw an incompletion, 3rd and 10 versus 3rd and 2, light years different. The drive continues and you did it. So no, I thought that was a terrific play by him. And like I said, there was no hesitation. There was no, he's a strong runner. He's not the most athletically gifted guy or fluid athlete out in the world, but he's not heavy footed. On that run right there, that was a good run. That was a good run, and he finished it off. And like I said, it was a key part of why the drive ended up in points, was because of that play. So no, that was one of my favorites.
So I'm going to go from a highlight, great play, to a low light. Our short yardage and 3rd down was absolutely terrible. I think we were like 1 for 12 on 3rd down, and here's a 3rd and 2 right after that, McCord. And again, you saw the play earlier, the spread out look, the 3 receivers plus Cade Silver spread out. Nice, easy box, easy to read, run the little counter play. Trey Henderson has about a zillion lanes to run through and gets like 10 yards without even breaking a sweat. So what do we do to follow it up? We go with the old, the 2 tight end cut formation with Marvin down in the box. And again, I love Marvin Harrison. I think he one of the greatest receivers ever to play at Ohio State, top 5 pick, all the rest. But he does not want to block, so don't put him in the box. So we put him here, condense it down. Again, I would put Mecca out here, put Marvin here, standing next to Ryan Day. Because, if you just watch you watch Marvin display, he comes in and he kind of gets in the mix, but he's not, I'd rather just clear him out and put him out here and put him, move these guys out here, clear it out, give Trey a chance. And again, it doesn't matter because our combination on the inside isn't great. Our combination blocks aren't. And I'll show you the end zone copy in a second, but, we're just not. We're not seeing it on the combos, because we had more linebacker run-throughs than I think I've ever seen in the history of Ohio State football on Saturday, because our guards were blocking like they had their eyes closed when they have to come off. The token verbiage, and this will sound stupid, but like when you smell the guy's breath, you come off the block, because you want to move the double team first, because sometimes when you're coaching this, kids will get obsessed with coming off on that linebacker, and then you leave. Then the double team sucks. You want to move that double team first, but when that guy starts to trigger, you gotta get surface on him. You gotta get after him. And the problem with us is like our guys were staying on these double teams, or they weren't even looking for the linebackers. The linebackers are running through and just smoking our running backs. But again, don't like the formation. Don't like. I don't know what you get out of the 2 tight ends other than you get this big, this big cobbled up box where all of a sudden you've got 6, 7. You got your corner down here. You got he's down here. Again, Mecca has nothing to do with the play. Safety's deep. These guys aren't real pass threats. So again, you've got a bunch of guys getting dented at the line of scrimmage, and then you get this. The linebacker's Trey line, and he's absolutely teeing off on Trey. So it's like, again, people hate on Trey. I don't know what he's supposed to do when he touches. He literally gets the ball right there. He has the ball for 1 step, and this guy's literally coming scot-free to meet him right in the A-gap. So, again, maybe if you're God and you can teleport through the gap, you might be able to get through there, but I don't know what any running back's supposed to do. When we're trying to get 2 yards and you play the football in the phone booth game, run it right up the gut, you don't go fast, you don't spread them out, you just line them up, and you're just like, we're gonna get them all up in there, and we're gonna make it. And it's just, I think it's just stupid football. And again, do we have to be better at the combination block? Absolutely. Can we, can everything be better there, cleaner? Absolutely. But, you don't have to make it this big mosh pit when you can just clean it out. Because again, why can you do that? Because you have Marvin and Emeka. Why? It's not because they're going to block good or they're going to do whatever. But they terrify defensive coordinators, and they terrify corners, they terrify safeties. So it's like you have to pay attention to those guys. Like if you're playing the Minnesota Vikings, you better double team Justin Jefferson. He's got 250 yards on you. So you gotta go after and protect your corner versus Marvin, because there isn't a corner in college football that can check Marvin one-on-one, and Emeka is right next to him. No one can check Emeka either. So you better give those guys some help. Your thoughts on this Nevada? We get a little bit more of a condensed look here, but again, like I don't like it. Like I don't like the we're trying to do this. We're trying to get this whole football on phone booth thing going, and again, we're not strong at the point. I mean, Carson's hanging in there. Donnie's the guy that's got to come off on this. I mean, Donnie, he's coming down to help Carson, but he turns himself, and those two are supposed to be going to him, and Donnie's he's too much into this block, can't come off, and then the linebacker just runs through and smokes Trey. If Donnie comes off, we got a shot. I mean, the rest of the guys pretty easy. I mean, Josh Fryer could be more physical. I mean, really, all of us could be more physical. I mean, Matt Jones is trying. Josh versus little number 4 should be smoking that guy, but he's just trying. He's not really the focal point. The guys are the focal points. The double team in the middle is the focal point of this whole play. And we're trying to move this guy, but you got to keep your eyes on this guy when he's triggering, because again, we don't pull it. We don't do anything that's like ultra hard. Because again, if this was a read, if this was a true read, and we read this guy, read him, and it was surface, like Kyle could pull that and run for 100 yards. If Marvin would really block this guy, and this was a true read, that's out the gate. If that's JT Barrett, it's out the gate. Easy conversion, not even close. But we don't read anything. So, you kind of, it's like you tie your hands behind your back when you're playing offense, when you just are simplistic in the run game. But your thoughts on this, Nevada, and we'll let this thing go. Again, you can see the trigger right here. I mean, it's all day, again, you see Donnie turn. Donnie gets too much into this, because again, he's all juiced up. He's trying to get 2 yards, but he's got to stay square here and work up to this guy. That's literally his guy. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because there's no one else that can literally block that guy. So Donnie's trying to help Carson, but he's just, I have no clue, honestly. But your thoughts on that, Nevada, and we'll wrap this thing up.
Well, again, I think you see what the difference is when you have a quarterback that's actually making a read, and we like to run that zone read action. We like to run that mesh point thing with the running back. But if it's not a zone read, I just think we're just slowing the play down. We're just directing everybody right to the thing, and they were not respecting at all any of the fakes that we were carrying out with the quarterback. If they were, they wouldn't be keying like that and just selling out. And Ohio State's just got to do a better job of identifying that when they see linebackers that are just completely selling out to stop the run. Whenever you direct the ball anytime, then you've got to punish those guys. That's when you've got to run play action. That's when you've got to run misdirection. That's when you've got to run, the zone read where the quarterback keeps it and goes out the back door. Just something to constrain the defense from running downhill. This has been something that we've been saying for years at Ohio State. It's been one of the big, challenges of the offense during the Ryan Day era, which has been, if they don't have a quarterback that presents a legitimate running threat, that it really bogs down the running game. And I think that play was a perfect example of it. And again, another one where, we've showed, in the last 30 minutes, we showed 3 plays or 4 plays, Trey Henderson running, where 3 of the 4 plays he's getting hit in the backfield by guys before he can even get going. And it's like, I just don't know what people want these running backs to do when they're getting smoked like that before they even get a chance to get the ball, because, it doesn't matter who you are. You've got to have some space to run. You've got to have that. And Ohio State's got to do a better job of scheming this. And the good news is they did it a few times. They had some stuff that was beautiful. I think they've got to stick more to that, because I think that's the offensive identity that we want to see from Ohio State. And I think that's the offensive identity that the best suits the quarterbacks that they have, best suits the weapons they have this year. So that's what I like to see from them going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, we got to get back to our identity of being an aerial threat, an aerial powerhouse, and then, using the throw game to complement the run game. Because again, our best weapons are Emeka and Marvin. By far, not even close. 2 best receivers in the country. And, you have to get them going early, often, and then feed them to open up the lanes in that running game. Feed them to get that 6-man box. Feed them to make the defense terrified of those guys. Because again, defensive coordinators are terrified of Marvin Harrison and Emeka. So when we had those plays where we're taking those guys off the field to put on G. Scott and Joe Royer, and nice kids, but dude, Marvin's an NFL Hall of Fame type player. Like, outside of getting him a shot of Gatorade, like during the game, like, he's only playing one way, and we're only playing 60 plays. So he needs to play 55 of those plays, and again, Carnell Tate needs to get in the mix. Again, they have no use for Jaden Ballard. I mean, Jaden Ballard didn't even play a single snap, which is crazy. I mean, David Adolph, who's a walk-on, played more than Jaden Ballard. So, Xavier Johnson did not play a single snap on offense that I saw. Might have played one, maybe at the very end of the game. But, get some of those guys in there when it's hot out, especially against Youngstown State. Especially, get Xavier and some of those guys in there on the blocking downs. Give Marvin a breather if you're trying to save his legs. But you got to feed Marvin. He needs 15 targets this week, in the first half. Just like feed that guy. He's the best player in the country, and he was nothing week one. He's not going to make no watch list with however many catches for 18 yards and him and Emeka combining for 34 yards. Like, that's never going to happen. So, well, with that being said, happy Labor Day. Appreciate you guys joining us as always. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. I hope you guys enjoyed our breakdown. We was trying to break a little bit of stuff down as we get ready for Youngstown State. If you enjoyed this content, please leave us a like. Click subscribe, and also click that little alert bell. If you enjoy Ohio State football more than anything in the world, join BuckeyeScoop.com. We are the #1 subscriber site in the entire world for Ohio State football, the #1 insider site. Our site is popping. It is growing. We appreciate all of our members. We appreciate all your new members. It's the best companion you can have for college football, NFL football, gambling. We are blowing it all out of the water right now. So it's really a good time. So we appreciate you guys, as always. Comment where you guys are watching from. Shout out where you guys are from. I love when you guys do that. And I want to hear who are your MVPs from week one from the game at Indiana. We're going to put that thing to bed and never watch that film again because we weren't very good. And we're going to make a lot of improvement from week one to week two. So with that being said, as always, I hope you guys have a happy Labor Day. Thank you so much, Scoop family. Thank you, Buckeye Nation. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Go Bucks.